Well, you know, I wanted to interview this gentleman. Woodstock's legacy of solidarity inspires award-winning author to explore the bonds of friendship in a new book. And we're very honored to have this gentleman, and I'll tell you why. He was at Woodstock, and he's written a heck of a lot of books. And he's an interesting gentleman, and his name is Mr. Reiss. Is that right?
It's right. And
And
and the
he's
name of the book is After Woodstock.
after Woodstock. So what happened after Woodstock?
Well, in my imagination, actually, when I went to Woodstock, I went with my best friend. And we both had big plans. We had just graduated high school. We were 18. We were pretty naive and nerdy. And in my imagination is that after Woodstock, he went off, sort of stayed there and lived the hippie life. And I went and followed the dream we had talked about. And over the next 50 years, they communicate over letters.
Wow. Okay. And what was been your dream?
Well, my dream before Woodstock was sort of to become a big time lawyer, be a big success. And I think Woodstock changed that a bit. Part of me never wanted to do that. Part of me wanted to become a writer and be more artistic, but I became more of a hippie attorney. I didn't wear suits. I think I followed more of a Woodstock creed.
I really think it had that big of an effect on you. What was it that you feel you came out of there that would give somebody who grew up and his parents said become a lawyer or a doctor? What would change your mind? What did change your mind? Was it a conversation? Was it camaraderie? What do you think the real when we get down to the essence or the emissary?
Well, I think it was 500,000 people and 3 days of uninterrupted music. And I think my love has always been in terms of creating things instead of science and math, which I always excelled with in high school. And I just sort of opened my eyes to things I hadn't seen before.
All right, let's get to the book. What are you writing about in that book?
I'm writing about different lifestyles because Jack becomes, he lives a hippie lifestyle. He becomes a Buddhist. He lives on the earth. He lives off the grid. He's not worried about money. And Brian goes off in an entirely different direction, the one he'd been going through heading towards since a child. He becomes a rich, successful lawyer, but he doesn't find that most important thing in life. He doesn't find love, which Jack did. And over the next 50 years, they communicate back and forth. And sort of near the end, Brian, Jack believes in reincarnation, and Brian would love to believe that. And he's hoping he gets a chance to do it and do it better the next time.
So these are real people?
Well, in my mind, they're real people. They're my friend and I who went there. But I think really, I'm writing to myself. It's almost as the me that would have stayed there and the me that went on, and I'm corresponding with the two parts of myself.
Give me a situation in the book that you think the audience would find quite interesting.
Well, I think the parts with Woodstock are very interesting because the one person was Jacko is a real nerd. He's never gone on a date, and in truth, my friend from high school had never gone on a date. He had never been involved with women. And at Woodstock, she's an older girl who's with her brother, and they have lots of marijuana, and they sit down and they smoke a lot, and all of a sudden, my friend is doing things he's never done before. And
Uh,
these eyes are things he's never seen before. And it was in his life, and I know that from his experience, it was really life changing.
it occurred in 1969. Actually, I just had the Tamara Lang at my two-piece peace event and Earth Day event this past week. Her
Right.
husband, Michael Lang, and Artie Kornfeld, who I've interviewed many times. This Woodstock thing, our audience knows I've been quite involved since 1989, having done the 20th anniversary with Richie Havens in Times Square, where we do our concerts. So I'm a Woodstockian, and I have this movie, Woodstock Forever, Peace, Love, and Hope, that I've been working on since 1989, and but not off and on. But I want to get it. You've inspired me. I'm letting you know that a lot of the reason I'm taking is like because you were sent to me by God, and I'm a kind of a guy that I let life take its due course, and I see something that I feel comfortable with, and I go with it. Okay, somebody sent you to me, a public relations person, whoever
Okay.
it is. You were meant to be here with me right now when I'm trying to figure out after doing the biggest Earth Day concert because the reality of Woodstock is it was the one of the first peace and Earth Day concerts ever. And it was in 1969. Earth Day started in 1970. And them's is the facts. 500,000 people getting along, having a good time, right? You were there.
And and the Woodstock spirit, I don't think look, a lot of our dreams from Woodstock didn't come true, but the Woodstock spirit hasn't ended. I wear my Woodstock hat, and I can't tell you how many young kids stop me and say, "Oh, Woodstock, were you there?" And you wind up making new friends all the time.
Well, you're a prolific writer. And I'm sure you're doing what you should be doing because you're sharing goodness in this world, and I applaud you for that. Um,
Thank you.
where can people get this book? We're making it just a little shorter because we got a lot going on right now, but we'll talk again, and
All
I
right.
honor you and what you're doing. Where can
It's
people
on
get your book?
it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble, and I'm happy to tune in on book clubs or help anybody in terms of group reading.
All right, maybe we'll do one together,
All
and
right.
that would be a nice thing. And so, and we have a website or something,
I do. HowardReiss.com.
and spell that, please.
HowardReiss
Hi,
.com.
Howard Reiss. You're a good man. Right on. Think peace
Paul, it was good to meet you and talk to you.
and versa
Good luck with
versa.
your movie. I'm going to look forward to it when it's going to be done.
There you go. This year it's going to be done. You've been.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
We're going for a little addendum to go on to this interview. Howard tells me a lot about my good friend Richie Havens. And what is that?
Well, yeah, I had never heard of Richie Havens at 18. I was into The Who and their new Tommy album, but he was the first one on in Woodstock, and he was fantastic. He blew my mind, and his album Mixed Bag became the album of my college career. I wore it out two vinyl albums listening to him.
Two vinyl albums. That's
Yeah.
serious. What were some of the words in that album that that enthralled you?
Some of the
To remember,
um, what were some of the words, the songs?
or
Uh,
some of the names, any aspect of it.
There was Sandy. There was the war, the movie, the song about war, about young men going off to war. There was a song about women. Remember, I mean, I don't remember the names of the songs, but I still listen to it when I write. It's on my writing playlist.
Oh my God. Well,
Yeah.
that's just a beautiful and tribute to Richie Havens, who even when you see the footage from 1989, when I interviewed him, he said very clearly that the words of some of the musicians that are out there, the hip hoppers at that time wasn't rappers, I don't think. You know, they were words of sometimes frustration, and it was their outlet to speak on those concerns, and that's a good thing. That's what they call, which was the name of his song that he started Woodstock with. I should have worn the tie, in fact, because I wear it all the time. Freedom.
And didn't he ad lib that song? I
Yes,
understood yeah, he didn't
he
really have it
ad-libbed
written
it
down.
because the
Yes,
I forgot who was supposed to come up, and it wasn't supposed to be
yes,
Richie. It was
yes.
supposed to be some big name entertainer at that time, and they said, "Go on, go on, go on." And Richie just got out there and did his thing, and the rest is history.
And what he wore that day is in the museum. His outfit is he
Yes.
donated to the museum. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Kathy
All right.
Hochul was at the museum and the governor of New York, and she just came back the night before, and I interviewed her the day after, and she said, "Well, you know, I was up there at Woodstock because at the museum, and here's a pin. You can have it." Lucky things in life, like you are. Howard, congratulations once again. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul.